The Polar Express, extremely powerful hook, 300 words. What if, in a single night, you had the chance to reclaim what you lost growing up? Not money, nor time, but something far more precious. The ability to believe in the impossible, to hear the bell that only rings for those who keep their inner magic alive. Imagine Christmas Eve, the silent house, doubt gnawing at innocence. You're no longer a child enough to accept fairy tales, but you're not old enough to live without hope either. It is on this threshold, between faith and skepticism, between dream and reality, that a magical, steaming, gleaming train appears, calling your name in the darkness of dawn. The Polar Express is not just a trip to the North Pole. It's a journey back to the heart that still knows how to marvel, to the inner child that resists disillusionment, to the sound of the bell that only resonates for those who dare to believe against all evidence. How many times have you stopped listening to the bell because someone said it was too late to dream? How many times has he traded magic for logic, hope for realism, enchantment for pragmatism? Today, you embark on one of the most profound and melancholic narratives about faith, childhood, and the price of growing up. The Polar Express, by Chris Van Allsburg, where each carriage carries a lesson, each character reflects a piece of ourselves, and each bell is an invitation to never let die what makes us human. Are you ready for the trip? Ready to find out if you can still hear what the adults have missed? So fasten your seatbelts, because the train leaves at midnight, and only those who believe will be able to board. Christmas Eve should be magical, but for the boy lying in bed, it's just another night of doubt. He hears the adults whispering, sees the presents being hidden, and notices the contradictions between what they tell him and what actually happens. Santa Claus doesn't exist, whispers the rational voice inside him, but another voice, smaller, more fragile, almost faint, insists, what if it exists? He stays awake, his eyes fixed on the ceiling, listening to the silence of the house. His parents sleep. His younger sister breathes peacefully in the next room, and he there suspended between two worlds, the world of childhood that is ending and the world of maturity that he doesn't know if he wants to begin. Suddenly, a different sound cuts through the silence, the whistle of a train. He runs to the window, and in front of the house, on tracks that were never there before, rests a gigantic smoking train, illuminated from within like a moving cathedral. The driver, a solemn, mysterious figure, looks at him and extends his hand. Welcome to the Polar Express. Are you coming? The boy hesitates. Logic dictates going back to bed, but something ignoring deeper, the impossible, the last thread of magic that still exists within him, pushes him out, barefoot on the snow, towards the train car that promises answers, or at the very least, one last adventure before childhood disappears forever. Inside the train, he meets other children, some skeptical like him, others still innocent, all searching for something that the adult world no longer offers. The journey begins. The city lights recede, and the Polar Express speeds toward the unknown, traversing mountains, icy forests, frozen lakes, landscapes that seem to have sprung from ancient dreams, forgotten by the calendar, but alive in the collective memory of childhood. Each train car is a new world, every conversation a revelation. Every glance out the window is an invitation to understand that believing is not naivete, but courage. The boy doesn't know it yet, but tonight will change everything. Not because he will meet Santa Claus, but because he will discover that true magic lies not in the answers, but in the choice to keep asking questions, to keep listening to the bell even when everyone around him has stopped. Chapter 1. The Wagon of Doubt. The journey begins between faith and disbelief. The boy climbs onto the train car and the smell of hot chocolate overwhelms his senses. Inside, children occupy the seats, some chatting animatedly, others looking out the window with bright, expectant eyes. He chooses a spot near the window where he can observe everything without being noticed. The posture of someone who is there but hasn't yet decided if he believes in what he's experiencing. The train departs with a gentle jolt, and soon the city disappears. Snow begins to fall in enormous flakes, and the landscape transforms. There are no more houses, lampposts, or cars, only trees covered in white, distant mountains, and a starry sky that looks hand-painted. Next to him, a girl with dark hair and determined eyes sits. "Do you believe it?" He hesitates. "What do I believe in? Not Santa Claus, not Christmas, not all of that. I don't know. What about you? I came all this way, didn't I? Then I guess so." The conversation is interrupted by the driver, who passes by offering perforated tickets. Each child receives their own, with a word printed on it: believe, hope, trust. The boy looks at his. It says doubt. He frowns, but puts the ticket in his pocket. As the train moves forward, the boy observes the other passengers. A bespectacled boy, arrogant and self-righteous, explaining to everyone why Santa Claus is impossible from a logistical standpoint. A little girl sings softly, hugging a teddy bear, completely immersed in the magic of the journey. And Billy, the lonely boy who sits in the last carriage, looking out the window as if he expects to be forgotten. The protagonist feels a strange connection with Billy. Both carry the weight of loneliness, the feeling of not fully belonging to either world, that of naive belief and that of adult skepticism. The girl next to the protagonist stands up and says, "I'll talk to Billy. Nobody should be alone on Christmas Eve." He watches her leave and feels ashamed. Why didn't he have the courage? Why is it so difficult to believe, to help, to trust? The first challenge, the frozen lake. The train is accelerating. Suddenly, the driver announces in a deep voice, "Next stop, train tracks over Last Chance Lake." The children look out the window and see the train is about to cross a completely frozen lake with cracked ice glistening in the moonlight. The know-it-all boy shouts, "That's impossible! The ice won't hold!" But the train doesn't stop. The driver smiles mysteriously. "It will only hold up if everyone believes in it." The protagonist feels his heart racing. What if the boy is right? What if the ice breaks? But then look around. The other children holding hands close their eyes and take a deep breath, confident. He also closes his eyes, not out of absolute faith, but out of a desire not to be the only one who doubts. The train moves forward. The ice creaks, cracks, but it holds. On the other side, everyone lets out cries of relief and joy. The protagonist opens his eyes, trembling. Was it collective faith or just luck? Hot chocolate and deep conversations. The train conductor and waitresses serve hot chocolate to everyone. The liquid is thick, sweet, comforting. The taste of childhood, of security, of simple moments that seem eternal. While drinking, the boy talks to the brave girl. Why do you believe so much? Because to stop believing is to give up the best part of being human. But what if it's all a lie? And what if it doesn't happen? What's the worst that can happen? To have hope. The words echo within him. He realizes that, deep down, he's not afraid that Santa Claus won't exist. He's afraid that the magic of life will end. That growing up will mean losing the ability to be enchanted. The train song and the reunion with innocence. The children begin to sing a spontaneous, improvised, joyful Christmas carol. The protagonist, initially shy, eventually joins in. For the first time on the trip, she feels she is part of something bigger, a community of dreamers, of children who still dare to believe even when the world insists there is no reason to. Billy, brought along by the brave girl, also sings. A low voice, but present. The train passes through a forest of gigantic trees covered in snow and natural light. Perhaps the aurora borealis, perhaps pure magic, and everyone gazes in awe out the window. At that moment, doubt and faith coexist within the protagonist, and he realizes that perhaps this is how it should be. Not absolute certainty, but a willingness to embark on the journey. In the distance, a golden light appears on the horizon. The driver announces, "Arriving at the North Pole." The boy's heart races. He is about to find out if all of this is real, or if he will wake up in bed with the feeling of having lost something precious without ever having touched it. Have you ever felt like you were losing the ability to be enchanted? Have you ever faced the challenge of believing when everything around you told you to stop? Comment, what was the frozen lake you crossed in your life? Like, share, and get ready. The North Pole is coming. Chapter 2. The North Pole, where magic reveals itself or disappears forever. The train slows down, and a breathtaking view unfolds through the window. An entire illuminated city built of wood and stone, with pointed towers, smoking chimneys, and thousands of golden lights twinkling like terrestrial stars. Elves, small, agile, dressed in colorful clothes, run to and fro carrying boxes, wrapping presents, adjusting sleds. The children press their faces against the windows, their mouths agape. Even the skeptical boy remains silent, unable to deny what he sees before him. The protagonist feels a mixture of euphoria and fear. And what if, after all this, He still can't believe it. What if doubt is stronger than magic? The train stops at the central station, and the children get off in a line. The air is cold, but not uncomfortably so, as if the North Pole itself knows how to warm those who arrive with an open heart. The central square is enormous, with a gigantic Christmas tree in the center, decorated with ornaments handmade by generations of elves. Surrounding the area are toy workshops, reindeer stables, and post offices, where letters from all over the world are read and answered. The driver gathers the children together. One of you will be chosen to receive the first Christmas gift directly from Santa Claus. Please wait here. The protagonist looks around. There are more cheerful, more deserving, more innocent children. Why would he be chosen? While they wait, some elves approach and invite the children to visit the workshops. The protagonist follows a group to the toy factory. Inside, machines work in perfect harmony. Hammers strike, saws cut wood, paint gushes in vibrant colors. But what's most impressive isn't the technology, it's the elves' joy. They work by singing, laughing, and helping each other. There is no desperate rush, only a clear purpose: to spread happiness throughout the world. An elderly elf with a white beard and bright eyes approaches the boy. First time here? Yes. And what do you think? It's impressive, but I still don't know if I believe it. The elf smiles. Believing isn't about certainty, it's about choice. And you've already made that choice by boarding the train. The words penetrate deeply, but the boy still resists. Suddenly, bells ring all over the city. The children run back to the central square. A huge sleigh, pulled by 8 majestic reindeer, descends from the sky and lands gently on the snow. And Santa Claus descends from there. It's not the caricatured figure you see in shopping malls or TV commercials. He is a robust man with a regal white beard, eyes that seem to see into the soul, a presence that commands respect and tenderness at the same time. He walks slowly among the children, observing each one carefully. She stands before Billy, the lonely boy, and places her hand on his shoulder affectionately. Billy cries, tears of relief, of finally being seen. Then Santa Claus turns to the protagonist. Their eyes meet. You have doubts, don't you? The boy swallows hard. Yes, and that's not a problem. Doubt is part of the journey. The important thing is that you came. Santa Claus extends his hand. You will be the first to receive my gift this year, the silver bell, the symbol of belief. Santa Claus removes a small, gleaming, delicate silver bell from the reindeer's reins. This bell only rings for those who believe. Take good care of it. The protagonist picks up the bell and shakes it. The sound is crystal clear, pure, unforgettable, like children's laughter, like falling snow, like promises that never grow old. All around, the children hear the bell ringing, but the protagonist knows this sound isn't guaranteed forever. The children return to the train, carrying gifts, memories, and above all, a renewed certainty that magic exists. During the return trip, the protagonist carefully puts the bell in his pocket, but as he falls asleep, the pocket tears, and the bell falls, lost among the tracks. When he wakes up, he realizes the loss and feels his heart tighten. The brave girl tries to comfort him. Maybe he'll come back. Impossible. Nothing is impossible. You should already know that. The train stops in front of the protagonist's house. He gets off, thanks the driver, and goes inside, still feeling the weight of the loss. Did he lose the bell or his own faith? Have you ever lost something that represented your ability to dream? How did he react? Did he give up or did he continue to believe? Comment, share, and get ready for the final chapter where the bell returns, but not in the way you expect. Chapter 3. The Bell That Never Stops Ringing. Faith, Growth, and the Price of Believing. The boy enters the house with a heavy heart. The house is silent, just as you left it. Your parents are asleep, the Christmas tree is in the corner of the room, and the presents are already wrapped underneath it. Everything seems unchanged, as if the entire journey had been just a vivid dream, a last gasp of childhood before disappearing forever. He climbs the stairs slowly, his bare feet cold against the wooden floor. In the room, he takes off his coat and looks at the torn pocket, empty, silent, without the rattle that represented everything. Sit up in bed and take a deep breath. Did he miss the final proof that magic exists? Or perhaps he never needed any proof at all? Lying down, he closes his eyes and tries to hold on to the memories. The train, the children, Billy, the elves, Santa Claus, the sound of the bell ringing for the first time. Every detail seems too real to be imagination, yet too fragile to be proven. The sun streams into the room, and the protagonist's sister bursts in, shouting, "Christmas! Christmas! Come see the presents!" He comes down, still sleepy, still torn between joy and melancholy. The family gathers around the tree. The parents smile, serve hot chocolate, and hand out gifts. There's laughter, torn paper, expressions of gratitude. All normal, all expected. But then, under the tree, the boy sees a small box that wasn't there before. It has no name, just a note with elegant handwriting. Found on the train. Returning with love, Merry Christmas. PN. With trembling hands, he opens the box. Inside, gleaming as it had the night before, is the silver bell. He grabs it and shakes it. The crystal clear, perfect, unmistakable sound echoes through the room. The sister hears and shouts, "How beautiful! Where did it come from?" The parents look, but don't comment. Perhaps they didn't hear anything beyond the ordinary sound of a bell. The protagonist smiles, tears in his eyes. No further proof is needed. The bell rang, and that's enough. The years go by. The boy grows up, becomes a teenager, then an adult. The world changes. Technology advances, responsibilities increase. Adult life imposes itself with its bills, its disappointments, its deadlines. But he keeps the silver bell in a special box at the bottom of the drawer. Every now and then, in moments of sadness or doubt, he takes it out and shakes it. And always, always, the bell rings. The sister, now also an adult, can still hear the sound, though fainter like a distant echo. Parents over time stop listening altogether. For them, it's just an old object, a Christmas souvenir, nothing more. But for the protagonist, the bell is living proof that believing is not naivete, it's courage. It's the conscious choice to keep alive the part of you that still knows how to be enchanted, even when the world insists there's no reason to be. Psychological reflection. The bell as a symbol of faith. The story of the Polar Express is, at its core, about the internal struggle between faith and skepticism, between childhood and maturity. The bell isn't magical because it rings for everyone. It's magical because it only rings for those who choose to believe, even without absolute proof. Growing up doesn't mean abandoning the magic. It means learning to protect it, to carry it with you when others can no longer hear it. Throughout his life, the protagonist comes to understand that the true gift was not the bell itself, but the journey. The night he boarded the train, crossed the frozen lake, visited the North Pole, and discovered that faith is not about certainty, but about choice. The bell still rings. Decades later, now elderly, the protagonist sits alone in his armchair in the living room. The house is silent. The family has grown and moved away. Christmas no longer has the same energy as before. He opens the drawer, takes out the silver bell, now worn with time, but still gleaming, and shakes it. The crystal clear sound echoes through the empty room. He smiles, tears in his eyes. A soft voice coming from nowhere whispers, "Do you still believe it?" And he replies in a firm voice, "I always believed." The bell rings for those who believe, and can you still hear? Or did the sound get lost amidst bills to pay, goals to meet, and disappointments to swallow? Comment. What is your silver bell? That which keeps your capacity for wonder alive. Share this story with those who need a reminder that growing up doesn't mean you have to stop dreaming. Like, subscribe, and get ready for the finale, where we discover the true meaning of never letting the bell stop ringing. Epilogue. The bell that never stops ringing, the legacy of belief. The Polar Express is not just a story about magic trains, Santa Claus, or Christmas presents. It's a profound fable about the passage of time, the price of growing up, and the conscious choice to protect what keeps us human. The ability to believe in the impossible, to be enchanted by the simple, to hear sounds that others can no longer perceive. The silver bell is the perfect symbol of this internal struggle. He doesn't play for everyone, only for those who choose day after day to keep the flame of faith alive, even when the world insists on extinguishing it with logic, pragmatism, and disillusionment. Throughout his life, the protagonist faces what we all face: the pressure to mature, to be realistic, to abandon dreams and accept that life is only what we can prove, measure, and control. But he resists, not out of stubbornness, but out of profound understanding. Believing is not naivete, it is resistance. It's about refusing to let the disenchantment of the external world destroy the magic of the inner world. The lesson of the bell: faith as a conscious choice. Many interpret the Polar Express as a children's story, but it is actually one of the most adult texts about emotional maturity. Chris Van Allsburg understood something essential. Growing up shouldn't mean losing the capacity for wonder, but learning to protect it consciously. The bell tolls for the protagonist until the end of his life, because he never stopped choosing to believe. Not blindly, but intentionally, knowing that adult life demands this decision every day. Meanwhile, the parents stop hearing the bell, not because they became evil, but because they allowed the weight of the world to silence that inner voice that still knew how to be enchanted. They chose the safety of disbelief, the comfort of expecting nothing more than what is tangible. But the protagonist chose differently, and that choice made all the difference. The Polar Express and everyone's journey. We have all, at some point, faced our own Polar Express. That liminal moment when childhood ends, doubt sets in, and we are forced to decide whether it is still worth believing. Some board the train, others stay in bed safe, but forever wondering, what if? True courage lies not in having absolute certainty, but in embarking on the journey even with doubts, crossing the frozen lake without knowing if the ice will hold, in accepting the silver bell even knowing that one day we might be the only ones to hear it ring. So the question remains, can you still hear the bell? Or has the sound been lost amidst responsibilities, disappointments, and the constant pressure to grow up? If you can still hear it, protect that sound with all your might. It is rare, precious, and the world will do everything to convince you that it is foolishness, fantasy, a waste of time. If you can no longer hear, know that it's not too late to get back on board. The Polar Express doesn't just pass by once. It returns whenever someone bravely decides to believe again. Comment below. What is your silver bell? What do you protect inside yourself, even when no one else understands? Share this story with someone who needs to remember that magic doesn't die. It just waits for those who still have the courage to look for it. Subscribe to the channel for more stories that touch the soul, challenge the heart, and remind us that being an adult doesn't mean stopping dreaming. It means learning to dream with more wisdom, more depth, more purpose. And always remember, the bell rings for those who believe, but believing is a choice we make every day, not a certainty we receive once and for all.